Hi, so I've done a couple of videos on Suno Studio recently, and one of the questions that comes up absolutely the most in the comments on those videos is how can I use my own voice in Suno? And then what is meant, of course, is not recording your own voice in Suno, but making Suno use your own voice when it generates the vocal parts. So in this video, I want to discuss the way that I found works best for me, but there are some caveats and definitely some non-deterministic behavior of the AI model. So let's have a look and let's go. Okay, so in case you're wondering what actually is Suno Studio, I've done a couple of more basic videos on Suno Studio, which I'll link in the description below and also at the end of this video. But in case you do know what Suno and Suno Studio is, let's have a listen to the song that I want to add a vocal part to. It's sort of a modern R&B instrumental, and over here you can see that it has different tracks and you can generate these tracks with Suno Studio as well, or maybe you have recorded those tracks in Suno Studio, maybe you have recorded them in your DAW and exported them to Suno Studio. All of those are possible, but let's have a listen. Yeah, so it's a bit of a modern R&B groove, and you can now have Suno generate a vocal for this, which I showed in one of the other videos. But the trick is here that I want a more consistent vocal. For example, your own vocal, or maybe the vocal of a friend or a singer that you know really well. And Suno actually has a feature for that, which is called Personas. Now, this feature has been in Suno before even Suno Studio was released. And it basically gave you the opportunity to generate multiple songs with the same vocalist so that you could, for example, combine those songs on a collection, an album or whatever. Now, as to the vocals for this song, I'm not actually going to add my own voice because I'm not a very good singer. I don't like my voice at all. But instead, I'm going to use a vocal from a Cubase vocal library. Let's have a look. So over here we have Cubase, and this is the brand new Cubase 15, by the way. And if we go to the Cubase Media Bay over here, in Loops and Samples, there is a library called Soulful R&B Vocals. And it has a lot of different R&B samples, but they are mostly from the same vocalist. For example, this one. Ooh, yeah. Or maybe this one. Or maybe another dry one. So you can hear that these are all from the same female vocalist. And what I did over here on this track, which is called Samples, I basically dragged all those samples from the same vocalist, and I used the dry samples so that you can more easily hear the naked vocal quality. I dragged them all on this track, and as you can see, it's about 12 minutes long. All samples of the same vocalist. And that's basically the vocal that I want to use in my R&B song in Suno. I want Suno to use this vocalist to generate the vocal parts. So like I already said, I want to create a Suno persona from this vocal. So let's go back to Suno and let's go to the library, which allows me to upload audio. So let's upload audio here. And this is the file that I want to upload because I exported it from that track in Cubase. So let's upload it to Suno. And over here you can see that Suno basically allows you to upload 8 minutes of audio. You can make that shorter. Let's do a full 8 minutes, but I cannot actually upload the full 12 minutes of the audio file that I created. So let's just do the first part here and let's save it. So I have it here saved to library. Use this audio for later. Continue. So it has now finished uploading. It's in my library. You can see that it even transcribed all the lyrics of all the samples. But what I now want to do is that I want to create a persona from this track. Unfortunately, you cannot do that directly because if you go over here and you say create persona, you see that it has been disabled. And if you hover over the option, then it says personas cannot be created from audio uploads. Now, this has probably been done to avoid that you can make a persona of a famous vocalist, cloning a famous artist. Not sure why they need to do it like this, because they also check any upload audio for copyrights. So if you upload a copyrighted track, it will usually just refuse to do that. But for my purposes, I can actually create a persona from this, but I need to go to the Create tab. And over here you can say plus persona. And then you can select create new persona. And in this list over here, I can select the R&B voice samples that I just uploaded. So let's name this persona female R&B voice from samples. Let's have Suno create an image as well. Female R&B vocalist. Oh, no D, but B, of course. And let's also just use this in the description. Let's not make this persona public, and let's save it. Now, if you now go to the library again, you can have a look at your personas. And over here, you can see that it created my persona of the sampled voice just fine. Now, I don't know whether this is a loophole in their creation of personas, so I don't know how long you can still use this ability in Suno, but this seems to be a perfectly legitimate use of personas, and also if you use your very own voice, of course. Now, before we start using this persona to create a vocal part for my R&B song, if you like this video or find it useful at all, please give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so that it gets shown to more people. Subscribe to the channel and ring the little bell icon so you know when I publish another video. For even more support, you can use the super thanks button below the video, or maybe even better, if you're planning to buy anything at one of these online stores, I have affiliate links to these stores in the description, and if you click the store link before you buy anything at that store, I will get a small commission without any additional cost to you, which is very, very much appreciated and keeps this channel going. But let's get back to our R&B song. So we're back in Suno Studio, and what we now want to do is create a vocal part for this song using the persona that we just created in the library. Now, the ideal way to do this would of course be if we could say add track over here and say that we wanted to have a vocal part, and then in this dialog be able to select the persona that we just created. Unfortunately, that's not directly possible. Hopefully in the future they will add this, because that's really the way to create a consistent vocal sound within Suno Studio, like it is possible when you use the normal create in Suno outside of Suno Studio. Let's do it with a bit of a workaround now. So let's get rid of this track again and open the create section by pushing 1 on the keyboard. Because what I can now do, I can now import this part of my Suno Studio, basically the audio of my song, drag it in here, and at the same time add the persona that we want to use. So that's the female R&B voice from samples. And we need some lyrics for our vocalist, of course. Now, you can write these lyrics yourself or maybe work on them together with AI, but let's, in this case, for demonstration purposes in this video, have Suno write some lyrics. And let's say R&B song about clubbing, as in going to clubs in the weekend, right? So write some lyrics. Okay, well, the second one is a bit short, so let's choose the first one, Spotlight. And in the advanced options, we want to make sure it's a female vocalist, even though our persona is female. Lyrics mode is manual, since we specified the lyrics ourselves. Now, the audio influence we want to really increase a lot until you see it starts to get red at some point. So let's stop just before that, because it's basically going to create a new song for us now, but we want it to be as similar to our original song as possible so that we can reuse the vocal of that. Let's create this song. So let's have a short listen to the 2 versions that it created for us. The second one.
Rolling in with the VIPs. We don't need to see IDs, 'cause you know me.
Okay, let's choose the second one. Let's close the create section again and get the stems from the second version here. And I could just extract the vocal, but then the background vocals would be together with the main vocal in one stem. So that's why I'm getting all stems here. So let's put the vocal stem in there by pushing this little arrow here. And let's have a listen to the combination.
Rolling in with the VIPs. We don't need to see IDs, 'cause you know me. Yeah. We get in free. Yeah. I'm the main event. I'm the headline. Yeah. I was built for the spotlight. Yeah. I was built for the spotlight. I was built for the spotlight. Yeah. My body just started a revolution. Don't fight the urge, just start the movement. Just let it go, I'ma show you how to do it. Let it out, let it out, let it out.
Now, what's a bit non-deterministic in this way is whether the vocal that was generated here now sounds exactly like the vocal sample that I used in my persona. So let's do a quick check, comparing it to the sample, which I have over here.
You did something that I want, something that I needed. I can't even front. You got me on the run.
And in the song it sounds like this.
My body just started a revolution.
Well, it's not exact, right, but it definitely has some of the same characteristics. But that's probably a bit the non-determinism of the AI model. With the same input, you do not always get the same output. That's just the way it is with AI now. And if you try this a couple of times, you may notice that sometimes the voice is a bit more like the original vocal and sometimes it deviates a bit more. But if you want to have it exactly like the original vocal, there is actually a way to get that, but you need an external tool for that. So let's just quickly show that as well so we can compare it. Yeah, so this is a website called Audimee, and this allows you to convert an existing vocal into a range of different vocals. As you can see, they have a lot of AI vocalists over here. But what I also did, I created my own AI voice using those R&B vocal samples again. So this was created with the same file as that we used in Suno to create that persona. And this creates a very exact match to the vocal in the sample. You can drop an audio file in here with a certain vocalist and then convert it to the selected AI vocal. Now, in order to drop an audio file in here, we first need to export this vocal over here from Suno. So you can do that by download, export here. And after that, I can drop it in here. And by the way, there is actually a step in between because Suno exports a stereo file and Audimee works best with mono files. So I first used Cubase to make a mono file of Suno stereo file. So that's the file over here. So let's import it. Let's choose the conversion options down here now. So I want to remove any remainders of an instrumental. I also want to remove a background vocal. I would like to have the pure main vocal. Any reverbs and echoes, remove that as well. And if there's any noise, let's remove that as well. And let's start the conversion. And you can see that it's working on that now over here. When it's done, you can download this file over here and then import it into Suno again. So let's do that. It's this file here. Put it in there. Let's rename it to Audimee Vocal. Let's actually shortly listen to how it sounds in isolation.
I leave, we don't need to see. I leave, 'cause you know me.
So a very nice dry vocal, right? And by the way, if you want to know more about Audimee, I've done several videos about their great tooling, which I'll link in the description as well. But let's return back to Suno now and see how this vocal sounds in the complete song compared to the original Suno vocal. Let's maybe start over here at first verse.
Rolling in with the VIP. We don't need to see. I leave, 'cause you know me. Yeah. We're getting free. Yeah.
Compared to the original Suno vocal.
Rolling in with the VIP. We don't need to see. I leave. You know me, yeah. We're getting free.
Yeah, so the Audimee voice is definitely a lot closer to the original vocal sample. But of course, you're also hearing the difference in processing. There's a lot of effects on the Suno vocal. More compression, sounds more smooth. There are actually doubles in there sometimes as well, which are not in the Audimee vocal. So there's bound to be some differences, apart from the difference in the actual characteristics of the vocal. But still, two great options to get a nice vocal in Suno. Very similar to an original vocal based on a persona. Now, if you're going to try this out yourself, or maybe you have already, let me know how it works for you. Or maybe you found an even better way to get Suno use your own vocal or the vocal of somebody else. Let us know in the comments. It's always great to learn from each other. Now, if you want to know a bit more about the basics of Suno, I already made a video about that, which I will link over here. Check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.